Siga Anything. Hi, Kamaria.
Hi, Irina. How are you?
Good, great. It's very excited that now we are already in August, right? We're already in August,
Yep.
yeah?
And
So,
we're how many months away from COVID?
Yes, I think the last Ask Siga Anything, it was like last month. So I
Correct.
hope now the whole situation have slightly improved, I think. Is it?
Yes. It was back to slightly to normal, but we had a new case. But it was okay. We have done our fourth de-escalation. Now everybody can move around freely with 200 people in a group at one point.
Wow.
So people are our what shall we say? Our domestic tourism is booming because they can't go anywhere. So they spend money in Brunei.
Yeah. So actually, Malaysia is recovering also. Although we still have like new cases, but at least we run like single digit or sometimes double digit. So long it's controllable. But importantly is our life can move on now with the new normal.
Yes.
Of course, we're campaigning for the better normal, right? For Siga position,
correct.
We want the better normal. So for this, actually the new series that Ask Siga Anything, we want to looking forward is introducing to our target audience, also our ASEAN community, get to know more in the ASEAN country. So today we will start with our topic is the word Old Town, right? The topic is the Old Town. So actually in Malaysia, in Brunei, I think in all the ASEAN member states, the 10 ASEAN member states, we all have Old Town everywhere, right? So I think you have visited how many Old Towns? Have you like actually?
Yes.
How many Old Towns you visit?
I think in ASEAN we visited nearly all of them. For me, except for Myanmar. I think as we journey along, it's nice to make new friends in ASEAN, and it's also wonderful to see everybody traveling. With domestic tourism that we have, we even have ASEAN people in Brunei traveling to visit us. So we are promoting domestic tourism.
That's good. Because for me, that that in Siga position that we always have to initiate the ASEAN integration. So I think a few years Siga have been actually traveling around. So I've been all to the 10 countries. I have been all to the 10 countries, and this is also one of the way to promote our harmony and our unity, and also importantly is that ASEAN member states that we can create a better normal tourism also. Yeah. Okay. So today we will just zoom in into the topic. If you can say that the Ask Siga Anything, you can see the tagline is purposeful sensory journey. So it doesn't matter like what topic that we choose. So even though it's an old town, so we want to go with the good purpose, right? And of course, from our perspective, then we will have a different type of experiences. So today, I think we will go into like a little bit on like what is in Malaysia Old Town and what's Brunei Old Town, and then later we can share some experience in other ASEAN country Old Towns. I mean ASEAN member states Old Towns as well. Yeah. So Kamara, can you start with, because Brunei is always like rated as B. Right? B in ASEAN members is
we're B, so we start first. So Brunei is quite young, as we know. We are only about 600 years old. So if you look into Brunei, the city Bandar Seri Begawan, or the Brunei town itself, started in the water. If you see later some of the photographs that we have shown, we started in water. So we started as fishermen along the Brunei rivers. These are, if you see this photo, these are mostly ladies. Ladies who are, instead of taking the supermarket, going to the supermarket, this supermarket is coming to us, into our homes. So these are the ladies who buy and sell things in the water. So what they do is they get their own boats, they paddle down the river, and they go house to house. Don't forget, our house in the water are built on stilts. We are not floating, we are built on stilts. So we are the biggest residential living heritage in the world in water, if you look at it. So to avoid them from getting hot, you'll see the hat that the ladies are using. It is to cover from the top of the hat to the shoulders, so they don't get sunburn. Mind you, in the old time, we do not have a sunblock. So this is how they block off the sun from them. With this hut also, they are made from natural things like the leaves from the nipa tree. So these plants that you see, which they used to cover them, are actually from the mangrove, which is, if you look at it, I'm staying in the water village. So it's about only 10 minutes away where the trees are grown, and this lady will come down and to cut them off and to build, to make or weave this hat.
Wow.
And yeah, exciting. I mean, who would have thought that ladies are paddling down the river? So our river is quite big. It's 10 kilometers from the mouth of the river to the lower bay of the river. So we are in the lower basin of the river. People come, as we were saying, the old town of Brunei is different because people reside around the riverbank. So as they reside, they also have, you know, the sultans all over the years, which has come in together and reside around the area.
So means in originality in Brunei, basically your traditional architecture is the steel house, you know?
Yes.
On top of
and they're made of wood.
They all made
correct.
wood. That is the nature and the significance. Yeah? And then you just mentioned about like you actually stay in the you grow up in the water village.
Yes, correct. So growing up in the water village is slightly different to being on land. So the kids play on, you know, they go swimming nearly every day. So in the past, you don't see a lot of rubbish in the water because a lot of the rubbish are, Arina, just give me a short while. Please excuse me.
Okay. So this is the beauty of the life. So beauty of the life. So you can see like some old pictures now, you know, wow, that. So old town doesn't mean like it has to be on the land. You know, it can be just on top of the water. So in some part of the, in Southeast Asia, especially in ASEAN member states, and we have many part of the old town, they all developed by the riverside. And that is where the water village, although today some of the old town no longer exist, you can see the water village, but doesn't mean it's not there. So even in Kuala Lumpur, where I'm coming from, Malaysia, our old town is also mainly all the settlement is started from the riverside. So including yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Are you now?
Yes. You know what? It's amazing to stay in the water. You know what? Growing up, people think that every kid can swim. You'll be surprised. Not everybody can swim. You know, I fell in the water 5 times while I was growing up in the water. So nobody actually taught me how to swim. As I was growing up, the kids around my neighborhood will actually dump me in the water and say, let's swim. So you know what is our diving board? Our diving board is actually the little sampan which is in the water. So we rock it up and down and dive into the water. So this is how life is in the water.
Yeah, so when you hear the word, just now you mentioned the word sampan, maybe some of our ASEAN community might not understand what is sampan, you know, our
yes, sampan is a little wooden boat. In the past, people have to actually, you know, they don't have these fiber boats, so they make the boats into, one of the photos actually showed the sampan earlier. So the ladies are rowing up. So with the sampan, where they're made of boats, they come in sizes, length between about 10 meters or lesser than 10 meters. Some are only up to about 3 meters, so the ladies can row. So these became diving boards. So again, not everybody owns a diving board. Some of these diving boards they have to borrow, which is the sampan, to move from place to place.
So today we learned the word sampan, yeah? Okay. Then kampung. Kampung is the meaning of the village in
village.
Well, yeah, it's very known in Malaysia. We call kampung as well. And I think in Indonesia, they don't call it kampung, but they like to name it as desa. Desa.
Oh, yeah, desa.
Yeah, Brunei, they use the word kampung, means village.
Yeah.
So
So our water village, which is our old town, stretches 10 kilometers from the mouth of the river to the lower basin. So they're divided into small villages in the past. So there are at least about 30,000 people who are staying in the water village. They follow the sultans who are ruling them. So they go from village to village, and also during those period they bring in food, all sorts of delicacies. I think similar to Malaysia. Some of our food are quite similar, like sirimuka, the one which is green on top and white at the bottom. But the only different thing is during those time, the food are actually around the water, whereby they don't grow. So they have to look for things around the river banks. So a lot of the delicacies are actually made of seafood. So Brunei is known for its seafood. So they're cheaper than in Malaysia, but it doesn't beat some of the seafood that you can find I think in Thailand and all these places.
I cannot say like in Brunei because I visited you actually recently, January, right? So I won't use the word like very cheap, but definitely it's very fresh, your seafood. Because of the currency. We have to think of the currency. Well, Brunei, in fact, Brunei and Singapore currency, they are very similar. So it's like Malaysian, we actually like 3 times,
Yes, that's correct.
3 times. So ended up we will still feel like okay, accepted, but I think the freshness, sometimes we're really looking forward to freshness. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see. They're quite fresh. Okay, so in our old time, sorry, after you, Arina. No, so this is how they look like. Yeah, from the photos that you see. These are people who are selling, the supermarket is in water. If you look at it, they are similar to the floating market in Thailand, but they are different in a way because everybody who sells the things are rowing. They're just using a wooden paddle and boats to come down, and people will buy from them. If you look at these photographs.
I see. Okay, great. So actually, I think when I connecting the old town, I'm sure that both of us, we have sharing some same passion. The passion is we want to actually promote, our old town. So I think, I don't know how many years ago you started, but 10 years ago, about 10 to 11, now it's already 2020. So 10 to 11 years ago, I just getting myself into the heritage. And my first topic to choose to talk about heritage is actually I started from the old town. So actually in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, especially in the capital, and your uniqueness is your old town start from the water and then slowly move into the land, right?
Yes,
and
correct.
For Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, we actually started because of the tin mining. And then slowly we became an administrative capital, during the British colonial time. So the only differences is I think we actually colonized by British before, but for Brunei, so-called
we were protected.
Yes,
we were protected by them.
So that's why the architecture the architecture in some part of your old town now on the land, I think you can see some British influence, but not that strong. But in Malaysia, our architecture, especially in Kuala Lumpur, all our main buildings is you can show like it's very strong influence from the British, from during the British period of time. And for Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, we are not like you have the uniqueness of the water village. So today, our old town, even like in 1857 until today, so the only differences we have is we are getting more bricks building, okay?
Yes.
And luckily is we have some protection on the heritage building. So it became like our national heritage building. So that we still can see like from our Independence Square. And recently now we have like River of Life, which is Jamit Mosque, our one of the very earliest mosques in the early 1900 until today. And then we still have our living community street. The word living community street means like we still have like a lot of traditional shop, traditional trade shop. They're still there. So this is one of the way that we still encouraging Malaysian, the local people migrate, and then they come back to the old town park. And this is where that I think I started my heritage walk, also because of that reason that I feel it's very interesting that the old town can keep it as alive, not just as a historical site. I think that is very important. Yeah, that's very important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
you want to share us like current the situation in Brunei now and what will happen to your old town development? Yeah.
Okay, I can talk about the old town development in the water village, yeah. So what
Yeah.
is happening is we used to have about, as I was saying to you, we could have about 50,000 people in the villages. Now it's gone to 30, and just recently they did a survey. There's only about 9,500 people. So the older houses are coming down, and the younger generation are going away from the water, and they wanted to own cars.
Yeah.
They want to to go into better schools for the kids, but schools are the same either on land or in water, okay, for us, because um, education is free in Brunei for those who are studying in the public schools. So what the government is trying to do is to rebuild resettlement area in the water, so people will have the choice of having brick houses in the water. Yeah, so the base foundation are all bricks, but the side walls are still wood that they use, and it still circulate the wind conditions and the climate around the area. So with the coming of the resettlement area, it helps also with the environment that we have, and in a form of the when they flush the toilet, it's no longer going to the water, so they have a plant. Yeah, it goes through a system whereby they clean the water and only they come down. The same with the water coming into the areas. And the best thing is the old town now is slightly changing. There's more colors. People are looking at rewiring the houses for safety reason, and also and the government also are doing more street lights into the boardwalk, we call it. In the past, the boardwalk are done by each individual, but now the government has taken over. So I think safety wise is there, because the water village has its own administration, from the police station to the mosque to the administration of other things. I think it's very similar to Pulau Ketam. Yes.
Pulau Ketam. Thanks for reminding Pulau
Yeah.
Ketam, which is about 60 kilometers away to the west coast. I mean, from Kuala Lumpur, if you travel about the west side. So we have a fishing village like more than 150 years already, their history. Okay, and we still keep it very nicely. One of my favorite, that's for sure. And I bring you there.
Yes.
I remember I brought you there.
Yes.
Too. So,
but you have the most expensive crab.
Yeah, Crab Island, because okay, I think just now you mentioned a very nice about the word sanitation, right? The sanitation, because the water doesn't go directly through the river anymore, so you're using a lot of things, so pollution to reduce on the pollution level. So this is all in the sustainable development. I will call it the sustainable development in the management plan. So which is important. I think
the people are also helping out, Arena. One of the things is we also have rubbish collections. So to help that the people don't throw things into the water. So every day the workers come and pick out rubbish. Not only that, they give you new plastic bag to throw your rubbish in. So when I first started in the village, there was nobody doing it. The villagers were just dumping things, but I think people learn from example. When they see me, oh, you got to throw things in the bin. So people now, we have more rubbish on the jetty in rubbish bins. So what is used to be zero, now we have as many as 12 bags in a day. So I think people are cleaning up.
Okay, great. So in Kuala Lumpur, I think from the last 10 years, I've been witness, in this old town area, same thing also. So before that was like, everybody heard about, because I always hang around in the Central Market area. So when people talk about Central Market, it's one of the significant to representing old town in Kuala Lumpur. So when we talk about Central Market, everybody's that is smelly, man. It's like a mess, and then it's like not safe, and people, the local people doesn't want to come back, to the old town, except the tourists. But I think these few years I've been doing a lot of invitation, and I try to encourage everybody, come, please come to the old town, whenever you want to visit me, please, come to our Central Market, old town, this area. And then people like start, even my own Malaysian, they was like, wow, they actually changed, yeah. So it's much neater now and clean. And then our town council, our Dewan Bandaraya Raya Kuala Lumpur, DBKL, which is our town council, so they actually like put a nicely pedestrian pathway, you know, and then reorganizing, and then with the road sign and all this, and make it's more like comfortable, you know, to walk around, you know, in the old town. So this is also one of the initiative that, you know, calling people like, please, you know, can come to your old town area to visit, you know, and support, you know, the local economy. I think it's important. Yes, yes.
Correct.
I think we'll have like a, sorry, yeah. Yeah.
You spoke about signages in your Jalan Kasturi, right?
Yeah,
your walks, new signages. The Water Village too. We have our road maps, whereby you can send us things, postal service, and they have a road map or a simpang, a junction road. So that's your PO box. So they don't have to go looking around at 10 kilometers of boardwalk, because we have 36 kilometers of boardwalk. So these road maps will tell you where to go straight away.
Yes, yes. I think the development also give a positive impact to the old town. I think that is important also. But of course, we will talk about some negative things later. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I think in the reality, it's not about everything is so positive, right? So sometimes we look at the negative is just to like kind of like awakening us. You know, when we started to have the negative impact, it's like reminding human, you know, reminding us, it's like, hey, human, hey. You just have to be like, hey, watch out, you know, something is not going correctly. So that is, to me, I look at in the positive manner, it's also a gentle reminder. It's not criticizing. See, it's not a criticism. That's what we want to emphasize. Then I think in Old Town also now, one thing about KL, especially these 2-3 years, development, which we make it more accessible. Because 10 years ago, when I want to do my heritage, you know, in the KL walk, is quite difficult, fighting with a lot of challenges. But today, with wheelchair, even a blind person, you know, in the certain trail, we can actually quite easy accessible. I'm not saying that like 100% that very friendly. Yeah. At least the initiate, you know, the efforts is there. So now we can make it 60% friendly. You know?
Yes, correct. Same here. You know, if you look at the older photos that I sent you, the people used to climb the houses on steps. Yeah, like climbing a ladder. But now it's just like climbing staircase. So I hope one day we are able to bring a handicapped person on a wheelchair, which is easier.
Yeah, that's our ultimate goal. So everybody can travel. You know, accessible is always that we are looking forward. You know, that people have, everyone has the rights, you know, to enjoy.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so I think we will put some short video about Kuala Lumpur, and then after this we will come back to, you know, to discuss a little bit again. I think how you want to share the videos. Yeah, share the videos now. like a short video clips, that to everyone. So that was the collection of what happening is in the Kuala Lumpur Old Town. So I want to share something is going into the Old Town. It's not about just observing the big building or the old buildings, but I think the local communities, they are playing a very important role, right, Kavaria?
Yep,
I'm sure
correct.
you agree with me. So just now from this video clip is the only to me it's like the reason why I love Old Town so much. Even I visit any country, I love to visit their Old Town because I find people are so friendly. And
Yes.
they always are being very open-minded because maybe their businesses is long. Some they can run their business like for more than 50 years, 60 years
Yeah.
or even like 100 years. So some of the footage just now I share to you is basically the fresh market. Because in Old Town now, in Kuala Lumpur, it's a modernized city. It's quite difficult for me to show like very authentic. So just now the look like inside the alley, the small alley. That is our more than 130 years old fresh market. It still exists. Although today, the main consumer, the customers, are not exactly for the local. So we have a lot of foreign workers are working around, in the Kuala Lumpur area. So this has become like one of their favorite market now. So even though the owner, the stores, they are the local people, but they have to serve, the customer is mostly the foreigner worker. But we have some nice food store around. And I also sometimes meet some very elderly customer. They still take bus and take MRT to get down into the market. And I say, why you come all the way? They say, no, it's like sentimental value to them. They just want to come back to the old town and see some old store, go to visit some old shop, just to like refresh back their memory when they used to stay nearby. And also of course enjoy the food. So if you're asking me, Old Town in Kuala Lumpur now is always the best place, to find the best shop.
Place to...
Yeah, the good place to shop and also the good place to eat. That's for sure. Yeah. So I'm sure
and to meet up with friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Correct. Yeah. Correct. And of course, for me, I enjoy stories. So when I visit the Old Town, I love to talk to the owner, or sometimes I talk to people who are working there to hear their some 30 years, 40 years ago, what's happening, so I think the oral history is fantastic. It's really fantastic because some is not recording in the book. That's why really
yeah. You know what we just recently did, visiting some old town, going through the river. We went to see makams, which are mausoleums of the sultans. Yeah, where the mausoleums are still some by the river banks at the mouth of the river. And you're trekking into hilly areas and things. Very interesting, knowing that, not far from my house, there are mausoleums.
Great. I actually done mausoleum tour as well. And because if you see the footage just now by the river, actually that is the very main birthplace of the Kuala Lumpur. So currently if you want to find the landmark very easy, just look for Jamet Mosque. So originally Jamet Mosque, that piece of land is the mausoleum. Okay, and Jamet Mosque was not situated there. Jamet Mosque was on the other side of the river, and then mausoleum, it was like in between the two river mouth. So it's quite interesting. But today we cannot find all these mausoleum because they've been now about like 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers away to another side of the river. Yeah. And the Malaysia, we also still have our oldest cemetery around in Kuala Lumpur, which is just a little bit out from the central, from the Old Town Central Market area. It's also like about 5 kilometers away. So we have some like small little hill slope site.
Yeah,
and
mostly.
There is where the Chinese cemetery are all around there. So sometimes you going to the Old Town is not about just like shopping, take photo, and eating food. For people who enjoy history, if you wish to venture yourself, you can do a mausoleum tour, because by reading the graveyard is also you learn some new information, because in the olden days people like to capture their family story, family history, family stories, into their tomb. That's interesting.
Yeah, correct. That's the history book.
Yeah. So sometimes it become like we not just being as a tourist guide, so but we become like a translator also. So we will help them translate words by word what is written there. So I sometimes I do enjoy go to cemetery. Probably you would think
Yes,
this
I
is
enjoy that.
yeah,
No,
but
I love my cemeteries.
it is the best place to learn.
And it's also the best place to understand their language,
Yeah,
the old language that they use. Yeah.
and the architecture is interesting. So you can see like those days when people who are rich, how was it go? So actually,
Yeah.
coming to Old Town is not about just food, because that is that is some part. But today, of course, uh, just to create the economic impact, food is number one. Okay, so market is still popular. So I'm sure you want to show us some interesting market in your Old Town area, right? Although I mean
Yeah.
in the land part, yeah, in the land part, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are
So
just close to each other because the old town, which started in the water, move on land, which is about 200 meters only. Okay,
ah,
so we're gonna have a short video. It's gonna show you this marketplace, which has moved from the water into
yes.
the land.
Uh-huh.
We do them in two parts because some of the days they're just so crowded because of social distancing. So we're just gonna have a brisk walkthrough. Okay.
I see. So
Yeah.
are we going to have like some click videos on
Yes,
your
it's with
mic?
Farah. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
great, great, great.
So if you look at this one, we're walking through the market. This is actually a present from His Majesty the Sultan to the rakyat or to the citizens. This lady I'm
Uh,
talking to is actually the lady who make most of the local kue or the local traditional cakes that you see.
yeah.
I can't move more than 50 meters. People are stopping me by. And here we go. This is a few Chinese stalls which are still selling things in the market. Yeah, they're selling eggs, onions, and all that. So a lot of people come down on a Friday. This is the later part of the day, so people don't actually disturb us. This is called Tamu Kianggeh Brunei. So every Friday they come from 4 districts. So we're heading towards where you can buy your chicken, fresh chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So this is run also by some of the local villagers from the water village, but also some of the people from other districts. See that bird looking at the chicken, looking at me.
That chicken, is it for fighting purpose or it's for eating purpose?
Some keep them as pets.
Ah,
That's why they're so lovely.
yes,
So we're
yes.
going down to the other side, which is actually the fish market. So in the past, some of the fish market were moved to the land. So
Okay.
these are shellfish. You got to dive for them. Diving is for shellfish is also there. There are bigger fish around the water village. Can you see
Yeah.
how big a fish can go? So
Yes.
some of the fish can go up to 20 kilos in the waters of the water village.
So
Okay,
this
prawns.
so means this Tamu Kianggeh is actually originally they all in the water village, and I
Yes.
think what Tamu, it's quite
Tamu
popular.
means
Yes, means
Tamu
pasar.
means pasar or meeting place. Bertamu, berjumpa. The word
Yeah.
in Malay is bertamu. So they started not far from my house initially, opposite my house. Yeah, on the attached by the boardwalk. So this lady is selling things which we call locally as ambulong or ambuyat. These are the things that, yeah, there you go. That's the ambuyat. You
Yeah.
wanted to have the arena, yeah, when you were
Yeah.
here. So she sells all the condiment for the ambuyat, and the next one is selling fish.
Yeah.
Those two ladies are from the water village.
Yes. Yes.
We're
But
stopping to see some vegetables.
so I think if you have a chance and opportunity, if our audience that you can visit like Borneo to Sabah, Sarawak, or to Brunei, you can always hear the word Tamu. But when you come
Yes.
to like Peninsula, this part, we always use the word pasar. So it means it's like a meeting place, market. Yeah. So that
Yes.
is the way. Okay. And I think like it looks modernized, of course. It looks modernized with the development now. We need to suit the current requirement,
Yes.
right? Yes.
And this is also a present from His Majesty to the
Yeah.
people around the area. So this
Yeah.
particular tamu or this particular market is looked after by His Majesty's people. So they clean this up. So you have lots of water around here to wash your hand. A lot of things you see. So they're also selling little food stuff around the area. So people
Yeah.
can sit down, as you see, people are sitting down to try other food from not only from Bandar Seri Begawan district, but other
Yeah.
district. Beside Brunei Mora, they come from other district. So what
Oh,
happened is my guess, for those who are not aware, I run her homestay. So we are
ah,
only about 2 minutes away from my homestay by boat. So
yeah.
they will come directly by boat onto this Tamu Kiange, just pay
Yeah.
$1, and they will
Yes.
have breakfast sometimes here. Okay,
And then,
if they want to take photos, yeah.
yeah, and then I think it's like some people have a understanding also. They always think like if I'm going to the old town, I actually don't really require like being guided or being
Yeah.
accompanied, by the local people. But even though we are own nationality, right? I think you agree with
Yes.
me that even if you stay in Brunei doesn't mean you know the whole thing about
Yes.
Brunei. Just like
That's correct.
you stay in Malaysia doesn't mean you know exactly. So especially coming to the old town, and I think the enjoyment is the interacting with the people. So if you're just
Yes.
going there as a visitor and just take some photo, and then without storytelling, without knowing much of the insights, information, or story, I think that is a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah.
So that is
Do you,
also the initiative I think currently you're doing, and myself, that we
yeah.
actually do some experiences mainly for local. Means
Yeah,
like we are
correct.
promoting domestic tourism. We are promoting like everybody should know your old town well. I think you agree with me,
Yes.
right? Yeah, for
Yes.
the
Uh, Especially now when we can't travel away, so it's within the country itself. So the last 2 weeks I had a lot of local youth and even elderlies who come down to see me and say, take me for a walk. And I say,
yeah,
yeah, sure. What day do you want? So
yeah.
not even though you're Bruneian or you're Malaysian, not everybody would know that, this facility, what are these things like this? These are food cover, yeah, that you see here. This food
Oh,
cover, who makes them, how long,
not for your
yeah.
headgear, right?
No, it is for your food cover. This fantastic food cover is good, whereby when you use them, if you use the other food cover, you still have flies coming in, even
Yeah.
though they're not, the little flies. This one, no. It is
You
food.
know
It is nice. Yeah. This
you
is bags, local bags weavers.
no, Kamaria. You
Because
know what?
Brunei, yes.
I have to stop you. You know why just now I say the headgear, Because in your old picture earlier you show, all the women's are wearing similar.
Ah, those are bigger. That big headgear is no longer there. So I'm
Yeah, yeah.
trying to get people to learn how to weave that. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
that's
these are,
great.
yeah. So this one that you see are foot cover. So the
Yeah.
two different textures is huge. The other one covers up to your shoulder, or this one just cover 4 plates. So they serve the same purpose but different ways.
But I saw you're just now trying to show us the bag, which is great also. I think that is to
Yeah.
encourage people to have their own bag basket, right?
Yes.
And then we
Local
can
weavers.
this is weaving by the local, isn't it?
Yeah.
The basket, right? That's we can support the local. Which is
Yeah.
I always actually carry basket too. Seriously.
Yep.
I also carry basket to go shopping.
I carry recycled bags because coming into
Yeah.
the water carrying a basket is very tough. So you can't sling them. So you can't balance yourself because I have to go to the market by boat. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and
Yes.
depending on the tide, sometimes the tide is low and I
Yeah.
have to step down 20 steps. But sometimes
Yeah.
the tide is really high, there's only 2 steps. So I have to balance because it comes with waves and everything. But the marketplace is a beautiful place to go and visit because they also have traditional things.
Yeah.
For us, Farah, have you got the other photo? The one which is actually like a corset? the one which I go around my waist. Those are the things that you see that you can't see in a supermarket, and you can't see in other places, but only the market. Yeah.
And I think it's like now is the time, right? I think we started to have some better idea now with the old town, what happened in KL and what happened in your own country, this in Brunei generally, okay? And I think we would like to go into like some question. Yeah, because currently we have about like 20 minutes more. Yeah, 20 minutes more. Okay, so and also we want to cover a little bit generally in the whole Southeast Asia, especially in the ASEAN member states, right? Me and Kamaria basically traveled together to Solo, and we were
a couple of places.
Borobudur, and we were in the Indonesia, Jakarta, Old Town, you know. So that when we travel together, I think we've all find very easy and something like we feel like very, how to say, something familiar. I'm not sure, like when you entering their old town, especially when we go to the market, we always like first thing, boom, boom, let's go market, right?
Yes.
The reason why we love market, I guess, because of we want to see the culture. I think the best culture, right? The best culture.
Yes. And the communities.
We have some question. We have some question being raised, so we will go through the question. And I think we want to share some experiences in our some part of the old town, right? But so far, have you have any particular besides your own country, besides your own country, any part of the old town is your favorite? I mean,
I would like to say it could be Luang Prabang.
Yeah,
Luang Prabang in Laos. I would like to say Luang Prabang. Yeah. And then the second would be Indonesia, the one that we went to where they do a lot of tofu. No, tofu. What do you call that? The tofu, the Malay, where the Indonesians like to eat.
Solo. We were in Solo, right? Is it like
no, not Solo. In Jakarta.
In Jakarta.
The one in Jakarta. Yeah, in Jakarta, the one which it looks like tofu. I can't remember what's the Malay. Made of soya bean. And you have can't remember the name, but yeah, I like that.
In Borobudur or in the
no, in Jakarta behind our hotel. They were making tempeh. I love the tempeh making. The tempeh making was quite interesting, whereby the tempeh cooked by itself, even though you have stopped cooking it, it still keep warm all the time. That's the amazing part. Yeah.
Yes. So for me, I love Old Town. In fact, I've been traveling, most of the cities, especially Old Town. Old Town is always my first stop priority. So I was in like Sukhothai in Thailand, Ayutthaya, and also I was like in Hanoi. And even like when we were in together, we also go into the Old Town. And I went to Mandalay and Yangon, and also in Bagan. So all these places, if I don't name, doesn't mean that I don't like, okay? So I'm an old town lover. Okay, I'm an old town.
We have the old heart.
Yeah, so it's like even I was in Bangkok, my first capturing me is not the high-rise building and all this. It's like first I was please bring me to the riverside, because I know if I can find river, I can find the oldest place.
Correct. There's the oldest settlement around this area.
I always like fascinating with Old Town, mainly because of if you want to learn culture, okay, and if you want to have the best history display and demonstration and understand the local well, it has to start from the Old Town. That's what. Okay. Yeah. So that is why I never miss out any Old Town. And in our ASEAN tourist guide, we also developing our Old Town. The reason is because we find that more tourist guide or more tourism professional, they really required to understand Old Town and how to communicating and also how to interacting with the local people is very important. Because in the end of the day, we don't want to let people have a misunderstood that we are taking for granted and we are taking advantage. That is very important.
We want to wow them.
Yes. So everything we have to think of the sustainable development. That is very, very important on the key line. Yeah. So now we will go into the question. I think our admin already ready, the collecting all the question, which is I think admin part is already help us to select the 5 main question that concern. Usually people wants to know. Okay. Oh yeah, I saw a question from the chat also. They asked, what is tempeh? Oh, tempeh is actually fermented soya bean. So it's actually you can cook, like fry it or steam it, and it's quite popular, I think, in Indonesia. Very popular, I would say. Every single meal. So just like Chinese love tofu, right? Chinese love to eat tofu, and for Indonesian they love tempeh. So there's one inside story about the tofu. Why these tofu or tempeh? Even now, I bring sometimes my guests, go there because if you want to get your digestion system well, to prevent yourself from food poisoning, you need to eat tempeh or tofu. Do you know why?
They have the natural probiotics, I think.
Because they have to make by the local water. You see, they
yes.
make. So when you use to the local water, that means you will reduce the risk of the food poisoning. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. I don't know about you, but this is my technique to try. Technique to try the local food. So I always start with tofu or tempeh first. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the question. Okay, this was unfair.
So the question was, where else in Southeast Asia we can find the old town, with the exception of Indonesia and Malaysia?
I think I have mentioned a few already.
Yes, nearly all.
Yeah, another favorite. If you're really asking about favorite of mine, it's like really have a great impression, and I will never get tired to visit them. I will say like besides in Yangon, I mean in Myanmar, my favorite is Mandalay because I like Old Town with the impact of the living. You see, like people really live there, and economics, it's still developing well there, so I can find a lot of traditional trade around. So that's why I find like culture is very rich. And second, I like about the peacefulness. For me, actually, I like Sukhothai as an archaeological site, and also as a UNESCO site, and still surrounding by the local community. Sukhothai and Borobudur is always my favorite. One is in Thailand, one is in Indonesia. So if you talk about like very well organizing, and you can see all kinds of trading, in the old town, every single road you can find it. I think the best example, I would choose Hanoi, the old town.
Oh, why Hanoi?
I would choose Hanoi. Yes, because it's very vibrant. Then of course,
the colors.
Yeah, and if it's with with the strong royal kingdom influences, I definitely from Pabang, and also Hue. Hue is in the central of the Vietnam, which is my favorite. With the very strong royal, the royal influences. Yes, from the architecture, from the people, from the local culture, they have a very strong influence, which is I like it very much. Then if for my childhood memory, then definitely is Singapore River. Because Singapore River, actually the whole Singapore development, right now it's hard for me to tell you like old town of Singapore, right? But I just like Singapore River surrounding from the Chinatown to the Singapore Riverside, that whole area, because that is memory. I used to grow up in Singapore. That's where I follow my dad, go to the work. So that is something sentimental value, to me. But if you're asking like the passion that I have developed, like why I think Old Town is so important, is definitely Kuala Lumpur. Because without Kuala Lumpur Old Town, I never venture myself and entering into heritage business.
Other places. Yes, correct.
Yes. So that is another value to me. And then what about you, Kamaria?
I think I like places like Penang, the old town of Penang, the back street, because my husband grew up down there, and it's the people, the smell that you get from these areas, even Malacca, if you look at Malaysia, because Brunei, our old town It's not so diverse. We don't have, because Brunei is a small city, so we don't see a lot of that. The other old town, I like places like in Chiang Mai, because the cold weather and everything, and the life of the people that you see. Yeah, and it also shows the hardworking ladies that you have, and they use anything they can use, from grass to plants to papers to anything, just to survive and to improve the economy, the environment of their area. I don't have much, but I love all those places.
Yeah. So those who we didn't mention, doesn't mean we don't like. Yeah, it's just that we just based on some impression that that captured. Okay, so I think we give like some good info already about the sites, Indonesia and Malaysia, the old town. So can we have like the next question? Yeah. Okay. What is the do's and don'ts when visiting the old town? Oh, okay. For me, I always say, the respect it has a compulsory. Respect is not just respecting the people, and besides like pollution also, like not littering, not demonstrating the bad habits. For example, like when I go to the old town, usually we will done some shopping, so we don't do like keep bargaining. Sometimes I do like respect if I know that this is a traditional trade shop, and they've been doing like business for so long, so they must have a trusted value, by the local. So I like to but of course pollution, like littering, that is not nice. And then I hate to see people, I hate to see people take pictures or doing some filming, now with the smartphone, you can easily do. And without like spelling out your objective, what is your purpose, why you're doing that, and then you capture, and that is really annoying. So that's why sometimes people are unfriendly to you. It's not because they're unfriendly, because we never show our respect first, especially as a visitor. Yeah. And don't destroy them, please. Example, like sometimes they want to how to say, just to please the customers, especially I see like food places, and they start using like single-use plastic, and so on. So that is not good also. So I think we have to like keep reminding everybody like not to use too much of the single-use plastic, because sometimes all these local civilians, they are very innocent, they just look into the word convenient, the word convenient. So I think to the old town, we need to demonstrate the right way, So I remember I bring my food container, I bring my own reusable bag, or basket and so
and
on.
Your calories.
Yeah, and then sometimes they will say, no, I give you the plastic. I say, no, don't use the plastic. So indirectly, I actually explain to them, why. So I just wish them to be able to sustain. And then please respect their histories also, and don't be rude, don't like just keep arguing on the price, So sometimes we can have our, how to say, like we can do the research roughly the price, but usually the traditional trade shop, they don't simply just charge you or overcharging you, because they've been doing their business for so long. Okay, that was for you, Kamara. Yeah.
For me, because we stay in the village, and sometimes we go out, because Brunei is a Muslim country.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they come to the village, please adhere to the time, because people are doing prayers.
Yeah.
So prayer time are quite important to some communities. So if they come in, please come in. You're welcome, but not so much noise. And also don't burst into places like long houses. Yeah, because certain days the long houses, they could be of different religion. So the weekend sometimes I need some time with the family. So things like that. But Bruneians, we're going away from plastic. So we very seldom to get plastic nowadays. If we do, but we always turn away. And most of these people are happier that we're not using plastic. They don't have to buy. They don't have to spend money. Yeah, they don't have to spend money, so it cuts costs for a lot of things. And also, I love people using a lot of wet tissues. So be careful, even though you have wet tissues, some wet tissues, you're just dumping them. 1 use, 2 use.
Good.
So if you can, go wash your hand.
Now with the new everybody mask, and then they just simply throw everywhere. That's not good also. Not good. Yeah.
Those are the small things, but small things make an impact. Yeah. Yes. And you know, as a tourist guide, go and learn what you're supposed to understand about that country or that place. So and also adhere to, you know, tell your guests that please, this is a village or this is a government building if you're visiting. Please wear proper clothing, and when you're coming to these places, it's only fair. It's only fair. And also when you go out, don't overcrowd. If you have a big number, don't overcrowd. I think that's the do's and don'ts for me.
I think dress code, because like in our old town in Malaysia, I think when I visited some other part of the country, because old town usually you have some spiritual holy site.
Correct.
Entering it, so it's always get to know that the proper dress code is important too. Yes. I agree. And I think the visiting hours to the old town is also important, because they don't work very normal. They work very early. Usually the local communities they work very early in the old town.
Yes.
And they might take a good rest, in the public holiday.
They're exhausted. Exhausted by then.
So you have to the timing correctly also. So otherwise you will get disappointed, like, oh, why so quiet the old town?
Yes, correct. For me, because we're in water, you have to see when is the water high tide and low tide. Yeah, so you have to be careful on your footwear. So I always tell people, please don't wear the wrong shoes. You don't want to be tripping down the river. When I say put on slippers, oh yes, they do put on slippers, but slippers have no grips. You make sure you have grip. You don't want to fall in the water. You know, and we have to go and rescue you and things like that.
Okay. Can I have the next question? I think it's some tips already they're sharing about the do's and don'ts. And why we need to protect the old town. I think for me, it's important because of the heritage. So when coming to the heritage, the historical value is, if we like the old town is gone, means we left archaeology site, right?
Yes, correct.
The ancient city became the archaeology site. Okay, I think like for example, why you fascinating about the Angkor Wat, okay, in Siem Reap. That is one of the great example. Like Borobudur, you only left the temple monuments there. So I don't want to wait until every old town became an archaeology site, right?
Yes,
so
correct.
I wish like when we can travel or even in our own country, our travel in our own country. So it's good to go to visit the hotel and learn, what was happening in the past, which is, I think it will be you enhancing your knowledge about your own country. So I think that's the reason why we really need to protect our old town. And what about you?
For me, Old Town has a lot of history. To survive the next generation, we need our history. Even though we have gone digital transformation, we've done a lot of other stuff. Our history is the one which groom us for our future. So we understand what we are. So Old Town must be preserved. So you understand the culture of, we still have to wear sarongs. Sarongs are a piece of materials that go around our waist. We wear sarong in Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, even in Myanmar. You have that. But we have different purposes for them. For the water village, our sarong are used as, you know what? Instead of wearing a bikini top, we wear a sarong and dive into the water. So it covers our top to our bottom, right? Things like that. So the different purpose of things. So we need to keep that.
And then I think it's like when we appreciate people's value, especially in old town, and to create the sense of pride and recognition for the local people is very important. So they always feel like, oh, we are so precious, our heritage value is so precious. I still remember when I was in Water Village, when I visited you, I wear my sarong and keep walking around, right?
Yes, so correct.
I respect from the local ladies, right?
Yes, they're wondering how you enjoy wearing it. and you move freely with it.
Yes. So it's like, oh wow, you actually like, keep the tradition, even though I don't stay there, but I keep that tradition. I think, and this is also one of the best experience that I interacting with the local people, because they respect me and I feel like, I really respect them too, you see. So that, I think that's a great feeling. I think humanity is very important, respecting each other, from the old
They're
town.
so proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so proud that someone from out of Brunei is wearing it.
Wearing sarong, walking around.
Yes. I recently had a girl with me for 2 weeks, and she practically wears sarong to that long.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's what on my objective. Next time I go everywhere, I also wear sarong.
That's correct.
That's why I love Myanmar so much, because they really wear sarong, longji. They call it the longji.
It's the same with the Indonesian wearing the batik every which day. Yeah, so they're proud of what they're wearing. They make it as a national costume day.
Correct. I think we have one more last questions to go.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so can we have the last question? How old is the town to be called as an old town? Oh wow. Okay. So I think we have like official measurement is based on the National Heritage Act of their own country. But I would say like basically generally depends on how long is the kingdom as well. So I use Malaysia case as, because we're going to celebrate 63 years old soon. So you're looking at the 63. So anything like 50 years old, considered like old. 50
We're babies. Ours is only 37 years.
I mean, as a country, Brunei, but as a kingdom, you already been,
About 600 years, yes. So we decided on our independence about 35 years ago only. Yeah. So that's why we're still baby. In comparison to a lot of ASEAN countries, we're still a baby.
Yes, so that's why I say we have to look back the history a little bit on when the kingdom was started. That's one. Number two, and also when the countries are being independent. So I say basically 50 years and above. And but if you look at the UNESCO criteria in terms of heritage value, it has to be at least like 100 years.
Yes, correct.
Consider like heritage, So Old Town to me, actually, I attended one of the workshop, which is I very agree in the conferences, because to develop as a heritage city sometimes is too costly. And a lot of people, and also a lot of go through a lot of research and development hassle. So it's a lot of money on the investment. So to work into the old town, so it make it like easier, number one. Number two, we still can able to protect the heritage value. So this is where, of course, today people don't see like old town as the word heritage, just old, the word just old, but that is also one of the good strategy, to protect the heritage. So not necessarily everything to wait until national heritage level or UNESCO level, but at least the word old, it will help you to create awareness that you need to protect because it's old.
For the I'm getting older. You got to protect me. I'm turning 50 plus. I'm your national heritage.
I'm doing that too. Okay, don't remind me that. So I wish that we have a wonderful session, but I think we have a question that not being raised here, but it's oftenly, I think it's really annoying me that whenever I go to the old town and I see people like just to do some mural, on the old building wall.
Oh,
yeah. So my message is, I'm not saying very wrong, but it's actually wrong. Okay, because it's an old building and mural. I know we're trying to make it as an artistic, we're trying to create the attraction, but we have many ways. But the moment we use chemical to spray into the wall, that is a damage. That is already a damage. Yeah. Oh, so we do have a question on drawing the mural whole building. Yes, the mural. So that is my message. So artists, whoever want to claim themselves as artists, please understand the protection also. So we have 1,000 creativeness idea. So not necessary we have to use chemical just to spray and draw in the wall, please. Okay.
I'll use chalk.
So we try to reduce the risk and the building, able to sustain in a longer period. So a great heritage and education value to the public. That is very important. Yeah. Okay. So thank you thank you your time, Ken. And
thank you to everyone for spending some time with us too.
Yes, thank you everyone to join us for today. And I think the last is this is not the end, right? So we have more topics to talk about. So keep following us. And although our session will be 1 month once, but at least we will keep connecting each other and keep sharing the information we have in the ASEAN. To actually initiate the ASEAN integration also. Okay. And last one is we want to wish everybody happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
The reason why we want to wish happy birthday because we are in ASEAN member states, right? The month of August is so important. Why? Because it's ASEAN Day at the 8th of August. Yeah, so happy birthday to everyone, all in the ASEAN member state, all in the Southeast Asia, okay? And I think next also a very important month because Singapore, Indonesia,
yes.
Out of the 10 member states, we have 3 members celebrating their Independence Day. Yay, Merdeka! Merdeka independence, yeah? So that's
we like to wish everybody happy birthday.
Yeah, that's why we wish everybody happy birthday and month of the August. So since now we looking forward that this COVID, the pandemic will over soon, but we know that we can't go back to the normal. So let's keep looking forward the new normal to become a better normal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for all your time. Okay. See you soon. Okay. Bye.
Take care. We'll see you next month.
Yeah,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.